Just got done with our meeting with Ben Sam, so it's very interesting to hear all that he has to share. Now we're just going to talk about some of his things that have happened in his life and how he's integrated that with his work now. So please give him a warm welcome.
First of all, I'd like to thank you all for being here. I know it's a lunchtime and you're showing up to hear me. Sorry about that. But anyway, it's really a pleasure to be here. I always love meeting and talking to young folks. I actually remember being in high school, believe it or not. I'm an older guy, but I remember when I was your age and being enthusiastic and looking ahead. It seemed kind of scary sometimes, but also really great. You have your whole lives ahead of you. And Travis had sent me a little outline of, things, to speak about and sort of how did I get where I am. First of all, I had some luck. But here's the thing about luck. Whatever you guys end up doing, a little bit of luck will probably play into your career path somewhere. I actually, when I was in high school, I was interested in medicine. I wanted to be a doctor. And when I went to college, I was pre-med, and I finished all my courses. And I really enjoyed it. But after 3 years, I realized I'm not really going to be a doctor. I'm not committed. I'm not dedicated. You have to be really, really into it. And you've got to want to do that very badly. And I knew it wasn't for me. But I love music also. And I played drums and bass. I was in bands. And I thought this was really more of a meaningful path. And I was also very entrepreneurial. I've always thought about how do I do my own thing? How do I find my own ways? And I finished college. I'm not going to be a doctor. So I get a degree in psychology. I think that's never going to do anything for me. I use it every day. Okay, it's an interesting thing, and I'll give you two bits of advice. First of all, as I said, I've been very lucky in my career and my life. I've been very fortunate. And so and I've been. I hate to use the term, but I've been successful. I've worked, I've been lucky, I worked at a very high level. I've worked on a lot of movies you guys have probably seen. Forrest Gump, probably, Spider-Man, Back to the Future, all of them. A lot of really good movies. I've been very fortunate. But how does that come about? Two things. Work hard. That's the secret to success. Whatever you do, work hard. And I mean really hard. There are so many days and nights I spent in the studio when it would have been a lot more fun going to a party with hanging out with friends, doing whatever. I was in the studio. And I'll tell you a little story about what happened, how that paid off for me. When I first started out, I got a job through a friend at a recording studio. There was a studio in Los Angeles. It was called MGM Recording Studio. It was owned at one time by MGM Film Studio. They had sold it to a record company, but they had 3 studios. And they had a gigantic tape library. They had about 70,000 tapes. They needed somebody who would sort of administer these tapes. So I got that job. And, they would take tapes and they'd re-release, the albums. They were on large tape reels. They'd re-release these albums with all the Benji and Winkle and Boys. But it was all administered through the recording studio. So during the day, I'd deal with the tape project. At night, when there was nothing going on, they let me go into the studio and just practice mixing, working with the equipment, doing whatever. And so I'd work during the day, and at night, I'd be in the studio. All by myself, I'd be there at 2:30 in the morning, just mixing. I'd sleep sometimes in the studio, but that's all I did, day after day after day. And I loved it, and I was just passionate and committed. And I worked really hard. I didn't care about money. Money didn't matter. I made $120 a week, period. Didn't matter how many hours I was there. And I was thrilled to be getting that because I got to be in the studio. So one night, there was a session book, one session. It was Friday night. Now understand, this is long ago. There's no cell phones, there's no pagers, there's no nothing. There's a telephone. Everybody had their telephone in their house, that was it. Well, I was the only one there along with the dog. In this one session, there was a solo guitar for an hour. And the mixer who was supposed to do a session shows up so drunk, he drove the stereo on itself. He was so drunk, he literally could not stand up. The producer and I had to hold him and carry him to the cab and drive him home. Well, they're going to have the session. The recording engineer is now completely wasted in a cab going home. I'm literally the only one who knows how to work the equipment. They tried calling other engineers. They couldn't reach anybody. It's Friday night. Couldn't reach anyone. I ended up doing the session. And it turned out to be a really big album. It was a jazz guitarist named Joe Pass. It was his first album for this producer named Norman Grants, who ended up really liking it. So I ended up doing probably 40 or 50 albums for him. I mean, really, really wonderful jazz artists, Ella Fitzgerald, Count Basie, Oscar Peterson. I don't know if you know these names, but you can look into great American jazz, traditional jazz, and people. But the point is that I was lucky, but I was also sort of made my luck because I was there, I worked hard, I just happened to be there. And when the opportunity came along, I was ready. And it really meant something. And so it's a great, for me, I was helping them. I was really fortunate. But it's what I worked hard, and it's what that does. So that when the opportunity comes along, and opportunities come along often, you never know when they're going to happen. They do. But you have to be ready. The second thing that I want to tell you is the importance of being nice. It sounds like, well, that's lame, but it isn't. People like you. They want to be with you. They want you to work with them. They want to be around you. If you're a schmuck, I've known a number of really, really talented mixers who can't get work because they're all musicians, great. I mean, on and on. You probably know it yourself. There's just people that you know in your school that no thanks. Is really meaningful. I try to be as nice as I can. exert effort to do that, because it's really important. It sounds, I know it sounds lame, it sounds trivial, and all, but it's not. Be nice. Be nice. And the third thing, this is another thing. There was Travis had sent me this sort of outline, and I guess it sort of is about money versus passion. Sometimes people don't know whether, I want to do this, but if I do this over here, I think I can get a good job and make it. Well, my definition of success, if you will, has nothing to do with money. It's am I happy? When I wake up and go to my job in the morning, am I excited about going there? It doesn't matter to me, do I not want to do it? And I love what I do. To this day, I've been doing what I'm doing for 40 years. 40 years. And I'm as excited to do it today as I was way back when I was hanging out at that studio. And I'm fortunate in that I was able to find what I wanted to do in my life and love it and still do it. I never thought about money. I make a very good living, but that kind of money. It had nothing to do with my decision to do what I'm doing. And so, be happy in what you do. Because I think it was Thoreau who wrote that most men lead lives of quiet desperation. In other words, they live their lives, but they're miserable. Because they're not doing what they love. They're doing what's safe. When you're young, you don't have to do what's safe. Do what's interesting. Do what's fun. You have plenty of time in your lives to do what's I should be doing. Do what you're passionate about. Don't worry about money. Money comes and goes. So that's that's really my advice to you guys. Whether you're in whatever you do, let's work hard, be nice, and pursue your passion. If you do that, you're going to be very, very successful. You might not be rich, but it doesn't matter. The single most miserable person I ever met in my life had so much money. I mean, he could not spend. His great-grandchildren couldn't spend. And he hated every moment he was away. So I knew right away. Thanks for telling me that, because I knew money isn't the answer. It's just not. But, so find what you love and do it. And don't be afraid. I guess a little bit is about being an entrepreneur and what that is. And an entrepreneur isn't a gambler. An entrepreneur is a risk taker. I don't know if you guys are, any of you are sort of envision or feel yourselves entrepreneurs or not. I've always sort of related to that. I've tried things. I've had recording studios. Some successful, some not so much, in other businesses. And, it happens. But failing is not the worst thing. The worst thing is not regret. So do what you love doing. Even if it doesn't work out, you never have to worry about it. You never have to think about it. When you guys are 40, 50 years old, you won't look back and say, gee, I wish I had done that. That's much worse than failure. Much worse. Like I said, I've been really lucky. I've been that I'm very, very grateful. So on a day that goes by, I'm grateful for opportunities I've had, people I've met, even the people that were at Bragg. I've learned. Yeah.
Do you remember back in high school what you were thinking, like what your future looked like?
You know, when I was in high school, like I said, I thought I wanted to be a doctor. The truth is that not many people end up doing what they thought they would be doing when they were in high school, when they were 16, 17, 18 years old. The great thing is, I'm not a doctor. And the really interesting thing is my son. But I wouldn't have been a good doctor. I'm a much better music recorder and mixer. Much better. I'm doing what I should be doing. But I didn't discover that, as I said, until I tried it. I found, not for me. Yes.
For something like less formal or hard like this, would you recommend going to college for it, or would you recommend trying to get an internship?
It was always, to do what I do, it was always hard. Because, first of all, there was a lot more recording studios in college. It was very difficult to get into. But I feel that if you're really committed to something, really committed, and work hard, you will find a way. To go to college or to go to any school, there are recording schools. They're expensive, and they don't guarantee you, specifically for what I do, they don't guarantee you jobs at all. And that's a key. There just aren't enough. A lot of studios have gone away for various reasons. So I typically don't recommend schools only because, as I said, it's expensive and it's not. If it was an avenue into the industry, whatever it may be, I would say I would be in favor of it, but it's not. So I don't recommend it. But there are other ways. You just gotta find the other ways. So any questions? If you guys, I would, it's really valuable if you guys have more questions for me, because it helps me, if you have some interest or some thought about what I do or what my journey is, or what your journey is. Yes.
Can you choose
I don't choose. They choose me, actually. When I say that, I have certain clients that are composers, and they get hired to do a particular project, and they hire me to work with them. So, I don't get, in that sense, pick what I do. But I have some really good clients. Alan Silvestri, Daniel, two of them, who are great composers, fun to work with, meet folks. Yes.
Answer the question. What do you mastery or production, or like what specifically do you do with those?
Okay, my job is to record and mix original film scores of the music. I'll talk with the composer. The composer says, well, I'm going to have this kind of orchestra. We've got these electronic elements that I'm adding in. This is sort of the kind of thing we're doing. This is what the movie's about. That kind of thing. And then my job is to set up the orchestra the way I want it, the microphones, all the electronics that are involved. I'm sort of the interface between the composer, also deal with the artistry of the music. So So it's a pretty cool job. Yes. You know, I'll tell you, it's an interesting thing. I've never really been intimidated. I've always been confident about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And I found it, you know, I sit in front of a very, very big console. Maybe I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of what a recording console looks like. It's very big, lots of faders and buttons and switches and knobs and crap like that. And it is intimidating. So people tend to leave me alone. When I say people, I'm talking producers and studio executives and all these people who are, you know, very self-aware. And leave me alone, because that thing intimidates them. And so they don't have a clue about how to operate it. They know I know how to work it, so they figure out how to leave this guy alone. So they do, and it's nice. And at the same time, I sit in the room and I hear some of the most asinine conversations you can ever imagine between these people. So I realized that, you know, I'm one of the people who actually know how to do something. Whereas I'm not so sure about these people. Yes.
Do you don't place the score certain scenes in the score?
No, that's done. It's called, that specifically is called spotting. And what it means is the composer and director sit in a room and they watch the movie. And they'll go through it, and the director says, you know, I want music here. And this is what I want it to do, and I want it to feel a certain way, and I want it to really to accentuate this particular character. This guy's, let's say this guy's a bad guy. Let the music tell the audience this is a bad guy. Then you go to the next sequence. Okay, I want this guy, this is a good guy. So I want that music. So, or right here, I want to really scare the audience. Right at that cut. And it's all really timed out, very accurate. So it's a bit like in that moment. I want to really put that hard or whatever. So it's, you know, it's that kind of, that's called spotting. Director, composer. Yes.
Isn't that like what the orchestra would be doing? It's like creating music that fits the character?
The composer writes the music.
Or the composer, yeah.
The orchestra plays what the composer plays.
Yeah, and then so are you saying what that's what the director tells the composer, or that's what the director tells you?
That's what the director tells the composer. The director doesn't tell the composer specifically what to write, what instruments to use, whatever. That's the composer's job. But the director tells the composer what feeling he or she wants at that moment. That's the director's job. Really a hard job. Somebody once said it's like being beaten to death by a wet noodle. Because the director's job is to answer 1,000,000 questions one at a time. And it's literal. The costume designer says, oh, this character, you know, I was thinking about a blue shirt, but here's 8 different blues. Which blue do you think you'd like for this shirt? For this, what about the collar? You want a button on the collar? Or, I mean, it's that kind of thing. So imagine that, literally multiplied by 1,000,000. That's what a director does. So while it seems very glamorous, and sometimes is, it's mostly drag. It's, for me, in that respect. Because at the end of the day, the director, the vision for a movie is on the director. The director has to make these decisions. Yes? Usually the whole movie. You know, but it's, you know, one piece of music at a time. And for example, just I mentioned earlier, smaller group that just finishing Night Museum 3. We had almost 60 individual pieces of music recorded. Now, most of them were small, 15, 20, 30, 50 seconds. But nonetheless, each piece of music, which are called cues, each piece of music is an event. It's a conversation. It's something that the composer and director talked about probably many times. And then when we record each one, we have to make it as perfect as we can and make adjustments. And then as we're recording, the director maybe has a better idea about something. So the composer has to fix it or change it, adjust it, whatever.
What's one of like the most memorable sounds that you've made?
The most memorable sounds?
Yeah, like background sound that you've made.
Well, let's see. Probably just the sound of Romance in the Stone, the American Beauty. Had actually a lot to do with the sound of that score. Some of the things I'm really proud of. A lot of stuff, it's subtle things I would normally overlook. Those two, they're also very innovative scores. They're really well conceived and written by the composers. That's the best. Well, maybe Jaws. Maybe Jaws. Jaws, the genius of that is you can hear two notes of the basses and it scares you to death. To me, it says everything.